Find us on Facebook, email us at head2headpinball@gmail.com or go to our website at head2headpinball.com.
Welcome everybody to the Head2Head Pinball Podcast. This is episode 23 and I'm Martin, and with me as always...
It's Ryan C. Merry Christmas, you filthy animals.
But we do love you.
Off, right? Not that's off, right?
Yeah. So, well, it is Christmas. So, it's been a big year, and things aren't necessarily slowing down as far as news goes. And we'll do a bit of a reflection next week on the year outside of pinball manufacturers.
Yeah, but we still have some news. Yeah, as I said, we thought it was going to stop, but we've got news on some code releases. Does Steve Ritchie have a new job somewhere? We're going to talk about TNA, Dutch Pinball, AFM's driving in Australia. We're going to talk about the Twippies and the Twerpies, and our week in pinball. So We'd like to start us off, Marty.
Well, in tis the season to be landing code on us, so we've got some more code for Guardians of the Galaxy. So 0.81 has been released with some very exciting news.
This is the one where it's like equivalent to The Walking Dead and like Metallica. Like this is the update, right? It's now a good pinball machine. Is that what I'm hearing?
Is it?
No, I don't know.
No, they released 2 songs.
Ah, okay. So do you think this was coming all along, or do you think they just said, hey, Gary, the sales aren't very good. We should pay a bit more money and get some more music?
Well, I remember when it was announced, I sent you a note saying Gary's just got the checkbook out again.
It's funny because with 4 songs, it's almost like, I thought, how are they going to integrate this? Is this really just going to be when you end multiple or end a mode? Is it just going to, like when you're in kind of this limbo state, is it just going to play the music again, like these other 2 songs? And sure enough, when they released the code update, I believe, I haven't watched any footage, but I read it through the release notes, and that's what it seems to be. So it's almost just like a radio thing, which I guess kind of makes sense because, the Walkman, that's what the Walkman is in the movie. It's kind of playing in the background while scenes are happening. So what do you think, Marty?
Look, I think this. So the 4 songs have now come out. So the 2 new songs are Ain't No Mountain High Enough by Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell. I'm assuming that's how you pronounce. And I Want You Back by the Jackson 5. Now, what were the previous songs? We had Cherry Bomb by the Runaways and that other Ooga Bug.
Kind of feeling.
Ooga Bugger. Oh, so
Ooga Chaka.
Ooga Chaka.
Ooga Bugger.
Because it's just a terrible song. Okay. Here's my thoughts. In the movie, I think these songs work quite well because they are juxtaposed against a futuristic, action hero comedy type thing. And he's got this mixtape. But in a pinball machine, I don't know whether it works for me because I think the songs are really different. And I Want You Back by the Jackson 5, case in point, it's a good song on its own, but in a pinball machine?
So do you think that Stern is being bullied by the community into adding these songs that they originally didn't really want to put in there, or?
I don't know whether bullied is the word, but there's certainly been a lot of feedback that people want these songs in there, and I get that. I'm now sort of thinking that now we've got 4 of them and they are such disparate songs, I just don't know whether it now actually suits the machine.
Yeah, I mean, just remember that me and Marty still haven't played this machine.
Yes.
And I believe there's I read a post somewhere that the manufacturer of the Groot hands, I believe, broke the mold or something happened with the mold. So there's a delay on parts for the Groot hand, which is only why a handful of alien LEs are shipped. Now, usually what happens with Stern is the alien...
Sorry, what?
Sorry, the Guardians of the Galaxy LEs. Usually, I'm looking at this god-awful picture of the alien LEs. And anyway, the Stern, what they usually do is they ship the LEs that are going abroad, like Australia and Canada. That's why Guy Frolic always gets his first. They ship them first, and because it takes a while, and then they ship the ones in the US. And the reason for this is that people can kind of almost, the alley owners can kind of feel special and almost all get them at the same time, was, closer than normal. Now, I don't think the Australian batch has shipped. I might be wrong, but I think because it's so close to Christmas, they thought we'll just give some people some Christmas presents. And a couple of people have their alleys, but I don't think they've produced many. I saw a couple of pictures of people unboxing alleys, and the gold trim looks a little bit better in real life photos than kind of like the stock photo, but it still just looks a little bit off. Have you seen the photos, Marty?
I haven't seen them, no. But I was hoping that they would look better. Because the gold trim, I know we've compared it to WWE, and the gold trim on the limited edition looks okay on that. I'm looking forward to seeing it to make up my mind, but certainly, as you said,
everything always looks better in person. I don't think anything's ever looked better on the internet, and then you have a look at it. But check your phone. I just sent you a photo of the WWE armor and the Guardians of the Galaxy armor side by side, like real life photos. So have a look. Tell me what you think.
They are exactly the same.
Yes.
So
it is the same armor.
it is the same armor. So they had leftover stock from WWE because no one bought it.
Yes. Great game, WWE. I'm very sad that went from Pinball and Argonauts Pinball Club, because I felt like I can always have a decent game on that, and I'm never going to be able to play that game again because no one I know has that god awful game.
Yeah, so and I'm absolutely with you on that. Everybody that plays is like, oh my god, WWE, and I'm like, I must be the only person that's really in tune with that machine because I consistently get good scores on it. Nobody else can, and I have a theory. And I remember at the time,
the theory is you like shitty games, Marty.
Yes, it's not a complex problem to solve. No, but I've always said that here we go on the flippers feeling a bit funny, but the flippers on WWE do feel different to any other Stern machine. My understanding is that they were trying a different mech at the time, and they only used it on that machine. And so for me, it kind of has a similar feel to a Data East machine. And Data East, that era of Data East when they were sort of everywhere, was when I probably played my most pinball. So this machine to me feels really comfortable, really uncomfortable to everybody else.
Mine isn't as deep as that. I just like it because
because you like men in their underwear. Is that?
I like men in their underwear. I've proposed to you twice, 2 weeks in a row, Marty. I know this sounds really stupid, but every time I play it, you know what? I get stuck in my head. Yes, yes, yes. And I don't know why, but there's certain call outs. I told you that I'm triggered by like certain sounds. I just love that call out. It's a stupid call out. And I don't watch wrestling. I have no idea what yes, yes, yes means. But like when you hit that like side shot and it's like, yes, yes, yes. I don't know why. It's just like a cool moment in that pinball machine. It's probably the only cool moment in that pinball machine. But no, it's I don't know. I enjoy playing it. I've played like 15 games on it, so I'm sure I'm just around the corner from Hayden and pinball machine. But if you don't own pinball machines and you play them, it's so much more fun than like buying them, waiting for codes. I'll let someone else do that as long as I can play your crappy pinball machine. What else did we get, Marty?
We also got some other code as well. So Hobbit has had a bit of spit and polish.
Ooh, is this the update that brings the super duper wizard mode, or
no? Sadly, no.
This is a bad week for good code updates. I did look through the release note, and did you have a look, Marty?
I did have a look, and I was trying to work out there was something that you've mentioned that you're very pleased about, and
okay, what's the worst mode on the Hobbit? The hardest mode, which you said you completed once. I think I've completed it once as well by accident.
Oh, the one where all the stand-ups or all the targets are lit and you have to all get them all down.
No, there's plenty of. It's 32 modes or whatever, so there's plenty of.
Okay,
ones
so
that are great.
I'll tell you the other one. The other mode that I hate the most is where you've got two beasts that have popped up blocking the right ramp and the right orbit.
Yes,
and you've got to get to the left orbit and the left ramp to pull them down to then shoot the ramp and orbit behind them.
Yes, that is the mode, and that is a horrible mode because
it's terrible.
As you know, in the Hobbit, it's very hard to get control of the ball because of the flipper angle. It doesn't go all the way up, so when the ball's coming down the one of the returning to your flipper from the habit trail or even from the orbits, you need a bit of time to kind of get control over the ball. So what they've done in that mode is they've increased the time to re-hit those shots to finish the mode. So, you do have a chance now to finish the mode, whereas before it was like almost blind luck. Or, if you like drop catching and crazy stuff that other people can do through an elite player. But if you're not an elite player like me, I just hated that mode and always avoided it.
Yeah, no, it was definitely the least fun. And even with the other one where I said you've got to hit the spider 3 times, and I think you've got to hit the right scoop, and then all the targets are then lit. If you're bringing in a multi-ball with that, that's actually very achievable. This other one is painful no matter what situation you're in.
That's why I think, as I said, if you somehow color code or separate the hexagons. Oh my gosh, the hexagons! I wonder if Franchi did the art for the. Sorry, I can't not think of it every time I see that shape now. If they color code it or something, then you can know if you can. You have to bring in multi-ball into the mode. But right now, it's kind of like you start a mode and you're like, oh shit, I should have. Like I have absolutely no chance of finishing this mode because this is a 1-ball mode. I don't know. What do you think?
Oh, I'm glad they did it, and I think you're right. It was just way too quick, and then it just became frustrating, and then I started hating the game as a result. And time out the mode, just move on to the next one.
Yeah, they also did one. It wasn't a big update, but a lot of people complained that in attract mode, the machine now kind of spews clown vomit in the form of the attract mode lights. Before it was just kind of like this classy fire, kind of like keeping to the same theme as the pinball while it's on. But there are colors produced in attract mode that don't happen during the game because it doesn't suit the pin. I'm going to keep it because I've got mine on site still. I'm going to keep mine in the clown vomit stuff because anything that will catch someone's eye and attract them towards the game is good for me. Marty, are you keeping your old school attract mode lights? Are you going to the clown vomit ones? You leaving the clown vomit ones?
I will do whatever is the default. I couldn't give a crap either way.
Clown vomit confirmed. So
do I actually have to go in and change it to the old school? So the default is clown vomit.
That's right.
Okay.
Wouldn't it be amazing if that was the actual name? In
clown
the
vomit mode activated.
Because the name they added for the old one is old school attract mode lights. So that's the option in the menu. Did you hear, Marty, that Steve Ritchie is now the head of a new manufacturing?
No. Oh well, I mean, we talked
manufacturing a pizza.
We talked last week about the fact that he's going into retirement after he's finished his next Black Knight pinball machine. Has he got a new job already?
Well, I saw a headline today that Steve Ritchie is now the new head of Papa John's. It's a me, Mario. What's a pizza? What a coincidence, right? A guy called Steve Ritchie is the new head of Papa John's.
That is very, very cool. So I don't know much about this story, but it's been on my LinkedIn feed over the last couple of weeks that Papa John's has been in trouble. But Papa John's to me means absolutely nothing. What the fuck is Papa John's? Is that like a big pizza chain or something?
I think it's equivalent to like Pizza Hut here, but just with a guy's name instead of Pizza Hut. I don't know. We don't have Papa John's down here. It's a US thing. Well, but hey, we have US listeners. It was worth it for the gag, right?
Yeah, it was definitely worth it for the gag. But someone write in and tell us whether Papa John's is actually decent pizza.
Yeah, is it good or is it like low quality stuff? Like actually, I don't want to name any names, just in case we get a pizza sponsor, right?
Domino's.
Hey, I'm getting Domino's for my party because it's cheap as fuck.
Like their pinball machine.
Yeah. Okay. Alien Alley with the black trim. Got a picture of that this week. What do you think, Marty? Did you see all these pictures? You've seen pictures now of every single trim.
Yeah, so I've seen the green trim, I've seen the blue trim, and now I've seen the black trim.
Which one do you think looks the best?
Green. I do. The black looks good as well. I do like the green armor on it. The blue one looks ridiculous. Just just quietly, it looks ridiculous. And if you have ordered one with blue trim, change your fucking order now.
Marty, everyone has the right to choose their colour, okay?
Do you like the blue?
Okay, because I think it looks just as good as the green trim on AFM Remake.
Oh, okay.
So what does that say?
Okay.
But I won't tell you what I think about that.
Well, we're going to come up to AFM, so...
Okay. I just think the one thing that I think is that the bolts are the same on every single one. Not the leg bolts, like those little side pieces, the modular side pieces that are kind of stuck on there.
Yep.
And they just, every machine they show, they stick out more and more and more. And on the black one, it just looks weird. Like like bikers' jackets, how they have all those studs.
Yes.
It looks like that. It looks like okay, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 of those little bolt stud things on the front. Just powder coat them black. I don't know.
Get out a Sharpie and just, write black on top of them. Yeah, there's
I'll
lot.
I'll spend $12,000 and then I'll put a Sharpie over it.
Well, and they're also, they're on the flipper button sort of thing there as well.
It doesn't matter. It's just, okay, all the stuff that we're saying doesn't matter. All that matters is that they ship them out and people get them right. Well, and that they work.
Yeah.
That's, I think people would trade a machine with studs all over it instead of a broken machine.
Yeah, I do like, I've got to say, I do like the black somewhat. And the biggest criticism that Highway have had, well, I won't say the biggest criticism that Highway has had, because the actual biggest criticism is ripping people off. But and besides the really ugly looking back box, the biggest criticism people have had is the way the apron is, like the side rails as well, how they're actually really quite thick. And having played Full Throttle, it did make it sort of look and feel like it wasn't pinball, if that makes sense. It just sort of takes you away from the fact that you are just back into old school pinball. It just constantly reminds you that you're playing something new and something different, but not necessarily in a good way. But what I'm saying is, I think the black actually looks good, and you can sort of forget that it's there because it just blends in.
Yeah, it's like when you have a black phone with a black border and everything kind of like looks good, and then you say, "Oh, I'm going to try a white phone this time." Like, when your phone dies and you want to get a new one, you're like, "Oh, that's why I didn't choose a white phone last time." Like, the border just looks so weird.
That's right.
But yeah, Alien. I hope they can. Hey, did you notice that the back glass thingy isn't that Brian Allen one that was apparently never approved?
Yeah, so it's
it looks different than I thought it was going to look like. So there's one guy in the world who has the other one, which wasn't approved.
Yeah, well, I mean, admittedly, the pictures that they've shown us don't have the LCD in the back. So, and that was also one of the funny things, that you've got this fantastic art. Well, not necessarily this one, but the other one was really good. But it's not there when you put a screen in the back.
You hang it up on your wall, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
Talking about a company that's doing pretty well and getting a lot of orders for their pins, Spooky Pinball with Total Nuclear Annihilation, they are now up to, I think, 260 TNAs. And I think Charlie's fairly confident that they're going to sell a lot of these in comparison to their other pins, because Rob Zombie was limited from the start to 300. This one isn't limited, and the people that are ordering now are the people that really want it, like they're playing it on location, and every time they make one, they've only made maybe 50 or so. A certain percentage of these people are inviting their friends over or putting it on location. More and more people are playing it and saying, yep, I'm going to ring them up and put my order down. And they might have to wait, almost a year or half a year to get it. But it's in stark comparison to every other pinball release, where it's all hype and then it kind of dies down when the pinball machine comes out. You have to wait for code. This machine was ready and people were begging for it. Someone made it, and now people are ordering it, once they get to play it.
And I've got to say, I see on a lot of Facebook groups and also on Pinside that people that are getting these are just saying that they are everything that they thought they would be. So there's really been no disappointment when it comes to that. And so that's obviously going to start the hype train and people are wanting to get on.
Yeah, I'm sure some people will buy it and not like it, but that's just with everything in life. People change their minds and they don't click with certain things, but I don't think any of them have been for sale yet. Some people are trying to sell spots and move up and down the list depending on their financial situation. But I believe the Australian ones are on their way. And I don't know. Are we going to talk about that? There might be a surprise TNA in my house, Marty.
Well,
no, yes.
Will they?
Maybe. Let's put it that way. Maybe.
So when do we expect these to arrive in Australia?
I believe late January they'll land in Newcastle, and then they get distributed from there. There's 2 coming to Victoria, I believe, and some to Queensland and some to New South Wales. So I think there's 8 or 9. Yeah.
And the good news is, obviously, a good friend of ours, Nimmer, is getting one, so we will get to play it as soon as he gets it, if not earlier.
Thank you to Nimmer. So let's flip back to companies that are struggling. We should group them together, or maybe this works better. You just go from one to the other.
That's right. Just as a side note, before we started recording, Ryan said, it's Christmas, so should we just be all positive and full of cheer? And I said, have a look at the show notes. I'm going to put it in now. I listened to the Pinheads podcast today. They released their podcast. I went for a nice long stroll in the morning and listened to them. And it doesn't matter what they're saying. It's all positive, right? Like Big Lebowski, like they got a new company and this and that. They just skip through all the drama because they only have to do it once every couple of months. I want to be like that. I want to be positive. Okay. So we're going to spin this Dutch news in a positive way. Okay.
Let's do it.
Okay. Here we go.
Pinhead style. Pinhead's positivity.
Okay. So I'm going to read out the email that's come out from Dutch Pinball to all their, pre-purchasers or whatever they call them, the early adopters. Early achievers, yeah. So I'm going to give it a positive spin. Welcome to another update about the status of the production of the Big Lebowski Pinball. How am I going so far? Good?
Yeah.
Cool.
I'll add in some woohoos and stuff.
Okay, cool. In our last newsletter, we informed you that we tested engineering sample number 2 at the Dutch Pinball Open and that it performed very well.
You go, guys. What? That's good news. That is actually good news. I'm cheering them on. You go, guys. Come on.
Oh, I love it. We also told you that Barry was going to visit the Zytec factory.
Sorry. Barry's such an Aussie name.
I know.
All right,
so we also told you that Barry was going to visit the Zytec factory, or XY Tech as Ryan calls them,
Shut the fuck up.
in Suzhou, China, for the second time in the beginning of December. Barry returned the 15th and spent 2 weeks in training. The Zytec production team on further assembly instructions and in testing the final product. The team is learning very quick and will now finish engineering sample 3, 4 and 5 before preparing everything for production.
I love how they listed the numbers. Keep on going.
Thinking big, guys. We will start ordering parts for the first batch of the Big Lebowskis. We understand that you want to know when your game will be assembled, but at this stage, it is impossible to predict. The Zytec team is doing well, but it will take some time to get things started. Have I started, reading this like I'm reading a fairy tale, like a children's book? It sounds like that.
I don't know. I got the giggles. I'm finding everything funny.
In our last newsletter, we also mentioned that we will be starting promoting the Big Lebowski in Europe. For this, we will be present at the EAG International in London on January 16 to 18, 2018. You can visit us there and play the Big Lebowski Pinball. For more information about EAG, please visit www.eagexpo.com.
You don't need to read that.
Well, no, people might want to know what EAG, because we get about 1 or 2% of our listeners come from the UK. They might want to know what this expo is.
Okay,
and I don't know what it is, so I'm looking it up now.
There was another bit of the email there was the logos, and then there's another bit at the end where they're going to take it somewhere else. So let me give you their translation of that.
Sure.
These guys don't know how to build our crap. We have to teach them. We don't have any money to order the parts, so we haven't done that yet. We need money from people, so we're going to cart around these samples to 2 different shows. If we get enough money, we will start producing them.
Okay.
That's what they said.
Sure.
Oh man, my positivity didn't last very long.
It really didn't.
I'm just reading in between the lines there.
Yeah, no, fair enough. So
after that bit, it says we'll be present at the TBL launch party that will be organised by Freddy's Pinball Paradise in Germany. This will be on Saturday, February the 10th. For more details, it will be announced soon by Freddy's. Have you heard about this Freddy's place? It's like this insane, like building with just like hundreds of pinball machines, and he opens it up once a month in Germany.
No,
have you heard of that, dude?
No, I've not heard of this.
Okay. There's someone in Australia that's gone. Maybe we'll interview him one day and he can review Freddy's. But I'm guessing that means that Freddy will be the German or the European distributor for Dutch pinball moving forward.
Oh, so anyway, that I'm just having a look at the EAG site, and I don't know what it stands for. Entertainment and gaming, maybe, I don't know, but it looks like it's an industry event showing all sort of gamings. I can see sort of redemption games. There'll be obviously pinball there as well. So, and shooting games, arcade games, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah,
the stuff that happens at every gaming expo.
Pretty much.
All right, let's flop back. All right, this is the flip-flop part.
Yes.
To another company who's kicking ass. The guys that produce Attack from Mars, because the remake.
Yes.
It has just landed in Australia finally. I know people in the US have had it for months and months, but Australia had to wait for some reason, or probably because we didn't order too many, but they landed just in time for Christmas. There was a whole bunch of issues with the boat kind of getting... Well, not lost, but there was no update for a week, and people were freaking out. And then there was like a strike down at the docks that was resolved just in time. So this thing has clear customs, and Mr. Pinball has got them out to a large amount of people that pre-ordered. And are people happy, Marty? Are these broken out of the box?
No, so people are extremely happy. And I guess that's really interesting. I mean, we do... I mean, every machine that I've bought new... I say every machine. There's only been really 3 of them. So Star Trek, Wizard of Oz and Hobbit. Every single one of them has had issues out of the box. Every single one of them. Some major, some minor. So I think I've talked about my Wizard of Oz. The power supply blew up and I had to go and get another one sent through. So it's really, I don't know, I think it's kind of just expected these days that when a machine comes in, you've sort of got to do some tweaking, like dialed in. We've talked about that when our friend Andy got his, you needed to take it and tweak it, and he's come back this week saying that you've absolutely done wonders with this machine. So there is a tolerance for things to be done when they come out. So all I've heard from people that have got these Attack from Mars remakes is out of the box, they work perfectly.
Do you know why, Marty?
No, can you tell me why?
Because there is literally like nothing on AFM. AFM is proof to the world that you can put a minimal amount of things on a pinball machine and it can still be insanely fun as long as the software and the flow and the call outs are amazing. And that's what AFM is. Like literally there's a diverter on there and there's a scoop and the spaceship that just kind of rocks back and forwards. Like it's not, like the build of materials on this isn't like Meaningful Madness or another game with a lot of stuff. So, hey, that doesn't mean that, they shouldn't be congratulated for getting it right, but there's not that much stuff on here.
Well, compare it to Guardians of the Galaxy. Is there a lot more on Guardians of the Galaxy?
There's some magnets. There's the Groot head mechanism is probably a bit more complicated than anything on Attack from Mars because it has to open 4 balls somehow. I still don't know how it works because I haven't looked underneath, but 4 balls kind of get loaded in there and then they get shot out at the same time. It's not 1, 2, 3. So it's not like a kicker kicking out 4 different balls. So I have no idea how that works, but I'm guessing it's more complicated than anything on AFM. But people aren't really having issues with Guardians either, are they?
No, not that I've heard of. So, but you know, have people been having problems with Star Wars? Let's talk about the Pro, because obviously if we talk about the Pre-Manelli, it's got the hyperspace loop, but even the Pro, have people had issues with that, or has that been pretty fine?
No, it's been fine. A couple of broken TIE fighters, but that's pretty normal for something that is made out of plastic and gets hit by a metal ball.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. So anyway, I've seen lots of photos of very, very happy people. Our good friend James and Jackie, they got theirs, and he's absolutely delighted, and hopefully we'll be able to get over there and stream.
No, you're not allowed to.
Why?
I messaged him and he said he's not inviting you over for a while, so he can have GC for a little while. I swear he wrote that to me. He said, no, Marty's too good. I want to be GC for a little while, so maybe a little bit later.
He's never forgiven me that one time I went over to his place, played, I think maybe 1 or 2 games on his Indiana Jones Pinball Adventure, and I got Grand Champion, and he'd spent months getting that score, and he's hated me ever since.
Hey James, there's a reset button, in the settings. You can just reset the high score. That's not very hard. So what do you think looks better? Have you seen the photos of the black and the green?
Yes, I have.
And I'm guessing you're a fan of the green.
I like the green. I do like the green. I think the black. If you're, it's hard to say this, but I was going to say, if you're a purist, then you'd go the black. But if you're a purist, you'd go to the original.
Like the stainless steel, right?
Yeah. The black looks good.
I think they all look good in their own way, and it's a color, so you can't tell someone that one looks better than the other. If I was to get it, it'd be black. My AFM's all chromed out, but if I could be bothered changing it, which I can't be bothered, I would change it to high gloss black, because I think it looks the best. But I think most people are going for green because it's just it's a ridiculous pinball machine.
It's over the top,
hilarious.
isn't it?
I played a game today just so I can, pretend that I've got a Attack from Mars remake. Sadly, I don't, but it still makes me laugh. I don't know why. Just the stupid stuff that the alien says, like, women. It's just awesome.
Are the aliens Yoda by chance?
Is that what I sounded like? Yeah. Well, that's what isn't Yoda an alien? He's from outer space, right?
Yeah. Yeah. He is.
Women. I don't know how to do it. Anyway, it still makes me laugh. I don't know why. It's just ridiculous. These aliens come down to Earth and they're trying to steal our women.
Yeah.
And you have to protect them. You have to build an atomic blaster.
So, just as a side note, have you played much of Revenge from Mars?
I owned it.
And what did you think?
I solved it because I just couldn't get into it. The sounds made me laugh and everything, but it's so dark, and I know it's dark on purpose. You don't realize until you get that pinball machine. I like seeing the ball. All right, not like Pin Stadium lights seeing the ball. Okay, I just like seeing the ball enough that when I hit a shot, I want to follow the ball all the way through, unless it's a shot where it kind of disappears and comes back. But it kind of disappears for the whole top part of the playfield, and I don't know. It's like playing in the dark with the upper playfield might as well be covered by a cloth or something, because you kind of can't see what's happening with the ball.
Yeah, I agree with you, because even if you're doing, let's say, an orbit or it's going around the ramp, you are still following the ball, so you're sort of predicting the timing of when it's going to come back to your flipper. So really, what you've then got, you've almost got to rely more on your reflexes, because the ball comes back into view sort of fairly late into the piece, and then you've got to sort of get back into the speed of it. You don't necessarily have all the lead up to know how fast you hit it around, how fast is it going around to come back at a certain speed.
Yeah, the one that I had was really nice. It had an absolutely perfectly restored playfield. I sold it to a mate. If I want it back, I could probably have it back tomorrow. And I sold it to him pretty cheap as well. And it had the LCD in there. It was amazing. But yeah, it's just one of those games that I played AFM. I couldn't find any at that time. And I said, okay, I'm going to buy RFM, and I hope if it's like half as good as AFM, then it's like the bargain of the century. But to me, it wasn't that. And I never progressed so far into the game that I could tell you what happens in the wizard mode and this and that. And maybe it ramps up and it gets better. But I think the most modes I completed was 4. And I could have made the game easy because it was set up pretty brutal. But I just didn't want it in my house anymore.
And so for those that are sort of new, because we do have people that are new to the hobby in this year, and we'll talk about that later. But, so Attack from Mars, we all know, one of the Pinball 2000 machines was Revenge from Mars. It was one of the machines that, brought down Williams as a company. And it's one that's got this, it's got a TV screen in the back that is reflected at an angle, so it kind of looks like a hologram. And as a result, the back third of the playfield needs to be really dark in order for you to be able to see the reflection. And it works, but I'm with you in that I never felt the same sort of joy that I got from Attack from Mars. And there's another reason for that as well. What's great about Attack from Mars is the simplicity of the rules. You know what you need to do, and it's completely dialed in. There's, the rules and the playfield and the theme are all at one. There's just beautiful synchronicity there. When you then start adding modes to that, it kind of lost some of its magic, I thought.
Modes that you have to kind of like play sequentially once you finish one mode.
Yeah, look, I know. I understand that they needed to try and move the pinball platform forward, but I think they moved it a little bit too forward when they've got, we've got this TV screen, we can do all this stuff. Yeah, but you've still got to just maintain the essence of pinball. And it was something that we talked about last week when we were talking about Lexi Lightspeed and the multimorphic platform is you can move the platform forward, but you've still got to have the majority of the game all about that pretty stock standard pinball experience.
Yeah. It'd be so interesting. I mean, if I could have like 3 pinball wishes, nothing one of it would be to just for Williams to survive. Not survive, like not throw in the towel, because I think they were still making money. And just to see where that went, at what point would have they said, okay, let's now make it in a standard cabinet and do something different, or let's drop this idea, or maybe those machines would have been absolutely amazing. But I played both Star Wars Episode 1 and Revenge from Mars, and none of them were, I didn't get a feeling of amazement or anything.
Nah.
Let's just say I played them in 2015 and stuff. I didn't play them back in the day where I was like, oh, wow, look at this cool technology. So I'm not sure if people would have wanted it over what Stern was producing back then. I guess they're up against what
I did play them at the time. So I was actually there. That was sort of my heyday when I was playing pinball. And when they came out, they were a massive hype. I remember being really excited by them, and at the time I really enjoyed Revenge from Mars, and I thought that it had moved things forward. And then when Episode 1 came out, it even back then, there's no social media, there's no forums. Well, for me there wasn't any forums, and so I didn't know anybody else's opinions. And even I played Episode 1, I just went, oh, this is awful. It was just an absolute atrocity.
What was that, Jedi musical chairs or something?
Yes, and that's because
too much Jar Jar.
Yeah, it's because at the time they didn't know any of the plot of the film. All they had was some assets, and they went, "Okay, well, let's do musical chairs."
This guy is going to be the best. Yeah, it's John Poppaduk. He dressed up as Obi-Wan Kenobi or something, right? Because they couldn't get the assets to the movie for that. So John Poppaduk and someone else dressed up as Darth Mule and Obi-Wan and battled it out, and they kind of integrated that into the pinball machine. Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah,
all right.
It's the only cool thing.
You've read a cool article on This Week in Pinball about Joe Balsa?
Right, yeah. So we often talk about Jeff from This Week in Pinball, and he really does. We're going to say it almost every week. He does an absolutely amazing job. So go to thisweekinpinball.com. And this week he actually had an interview with Joe Balsa, previously from, every other company, but obviously most notable for Wizard of Oz.
Simpsons Pinball Party.
What else?
Starship Troopers.
I shouldn't laugh so much. But he's that now moved to American Pinball.
Yeah. So what did you learn from that? Because I haven't read the article yet. I haven't had time. Sorry. So Can you summarize it?
I can. With the dot points that I've got in the show notes that I sent you.
Well, I've got them too, but I just don't want to pretend like I've read it.
No, I did read it. And yeah, I actually found it a really good interview, and it actually had a lot of information. It wasn't one of these sort of waffle pieces where they can't really answer questions, so they're doing almost like a politician where they're answering with lots of words but not really saying anything. He actually was quite candid. So a couple of the highlights, one that he was talking about how they did have a prototype up and running 4 months after he drew a design on a piece of paper. He assembled all these great people and just said to them, guys, we need to do this in 4 months. They all laughed at him. I think when the laughter died down, he went, no, guys, I'm really serious. And what actually happened was everybody rallied behind the cause and they got this prototype up and running. But one of the things that they had to do in order to do that was they had to completely skip the whitewood phase.
Okay, so nothing was tested? Like, what if it was crap?
Well, so that's exactly right. And I think, we talked about it last week that, a couple of the shots are really tight, like ridiculously tight.
We haven't played it, so we're just going off what other people are saying.
Well,
right?
Yeah, but there's certainly enough people saying it. And you can watch any of the videos and see there's a shot that's harder than the Death Star in Star Wars. So they got that prototype up. It was flipping. It looked like a real machine, and then they can gauge consumer interest. But what he's saying he's doing now, he's working now on opening up those shots. So effectively, their whitewood has got all the art on it. So
how can he be working on opening up the shots when it's already designed and they're about to ship?
Well, very nice. Because they can do it so quickly. I don't know. But, also what he said is like, one of the questions people were asking was why it has that really unusual curved sides on the back box. And it does. It kind of looks unusual, but in a way it kind of fits with the machine. But effectively what he said that there was going to be like a row of marquee lights to make it look like a magic show. But they kind of scrapped it, I think, due to budget restraints. But the back box design was already there.
Topper idea, mod idea, guys.
Yeah, so it'd just be open up.
$5 LED strip, drape it over.
It probably is like that. He also said that they're only making one model, so there's going to be no standard premium LE collector's edition, super collector limited edition.
Send in your video.
Yes. And basically, it's one of those things where, there's obviously a lot of people have been vocal about that whole Pro Premium and LE model. I mean, it certainly works for Stern, so I don't know why, whether it really is a bad thing, but certainly as a startup, you don't want to put people off. So that's probably why they've just said only one model, and it is absolutely jam-packed with features.
How many are they trying to sell, Marty?
So I think he said that they'd be happy if they sold 1,000 of them. And we sort of did mention that last week. And, apparently they've got about 25, 30 machines on the line, sort of all getting assembled, cables going in, all that kind of stuff. And they hope to be producing about 50 games a week.
That's probably too many for a new company, right?
Yes. But what we don't really know is the size of this company. We don't know how many people they employ. We don't know the size of their factory. We don't know the size of
Jersey Jack don't do 50 a week.
Yeah, well, there you go. As I said, we don't know the size of this company. We don't know the backing they've got. Who knows? But we talked about it last week. Do you think that they'll be able to push 1,000 units?
I'll let you know after I've played it. It does sound like a lot. Is this game more engaging than Total Nuclear Annihilation, which has sold 260 units so far? I don't think so. But it does have the name Houdini after it. But I don't know. When was Houdini around? Like, I think people like Houdini, but it's not like, isn't he so old that like everyone that was around when he was around is dead? Is he like early 1900s?
But he's just got one of these things where, he was early 1900s. I don't know. He was just such an enigmatic character. Everybody knows the name Houdini as being, the great escape artist. I mean, I don't know whether you grew up with it as well, but I grew up knowing the Houdini name when I was very young, and all my life I've known it. So, but what's really interesting is that
he died in 1926.
Correct.
That's when he died. So that's ages ago. So he was born in the 1800s. I agree. Houdini's a name that'll be around forever because of that. And I mean, even when my kids used to we used to strap her into our kids' seat, and she used to always kind of break a part of it. We went to the baby shop, and they gave us these clips so she can't undo them, and they're called Houdini clips.
Right. Okay.
I don't know if they paid any royalties to the Houdini family, but yeah,
well, they don't need to.
Name.
Well, this is what I'm saying. No. So it's actually an unlicensed license. There is no licensing when it comes to Houdini, and it's because apparently when he died, he left no legacy. He left no instructions to his name, his likeness, or anything. So you can call anything Houdini, and they can obviously make a pinball machine called Houdini, and there's no royalties because there is no license.
So is that literally because he didn't have anything in his will? That doesn't make sense, does it?
Well, no, he actually had a very specific will. Now, I'm not going to go into too much of a history lesson with Houdini, but he was obsessed with the afterlife. He was absolutely convinced that he would be coming back. He had apparently I think he had, I can't remember what it was, but I think there was something in his will that said his wife that he left behind had to do a seance every week or so, or every year, whatever it was, some interval, and they had a secret sign or a secret code, so she would know.
How long do you think she did that for before she said, fuck it?
Probably a couple of weeks. But I think because he was so convinced that he was coming back, he didn't think about what was going to happen when he was gone.
Okay.
So
it's a good way to go out, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, it's a great theme, and basically I think what they're saying is that because the question was put to him, how does it feel working with a license or a non-license, and basically Joe Bowser said that there's pros and cons with both. With the pros with a license is at least the assets are there, and then you can just sort of put them into place. With a non-license, you've got to pretty much come up with all the art, all the design, and then put it together. But he said probably the idea.
You can't just slap a bubbly bobo in there, right? They didn't have that saving grace to lift the sails of Bobbly Bobble. No, didn't have it.
But yeah, so it obviously takes longer. You've got to create all your assets, but at least you don't have to then deal with the license owners to determine whether they like it or whether they approve it or not. So this, what they
all they need to do is, sorry, I'm just coming up with this shitty jokes today. All they need to do is just start a seance, and then just he comes back for a little bit. I'm like, hey Harry, do you approve this? No, that's horrible. Cut that out. That was horrible. That wasn't worth something you thought.
That was really not worth it. But what he was saying is that this is probably the best of both worlds, and they refer to it as the pseudo license, where it is such a well-known name that has no license. And I don't know whether there'd be that many of them, but God, if I can find another one, and that's what they've said. He is going to be designing the next machine, and it will be unlicensed, and they're hoping to find another pseudo license.
Do you know what's a pseudo license?
What's that?
Alice and motherfucking Wonderland.
Yeah, there you go.
Please do that. I will consider buying that. I love Alice in Wonderland just as much as I love Wizard of Oz and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, not the Johnny Depp one. Those three things. I forgot last time I was talking about Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Yes, Alice in Wonderland is part of that.
Well, he was also in Alice in Wonderland.
Yes, not that one either. The real Alice in Wonderland, with the cartoon. The real one.
Yeah, sure.
The other one didn't exist. And the last little note here was about his departure from Jersey Jack.
Yeah. So, and again, it was one of those interesting ones. He was asked about, why, I guess it was, I can't remember the question, but it was kind of like, why did you leave Jersey Jack? And he said that he said he couldn't really go into it, but ultimately that there was sort of change in direction with the company and, something to do with false promises made. So, I don't know. I don't know what that means. I think there's probably a lot more to that, but he probably just doesn't want to say.
Can I pretend to know what it is?
Yeah, go.
Let's speculate just on someone's life. They hired Pat Lawler, and Joe Bolsa was like, "Hey, I'm your designer. Why do you need another designer?" And they said, "It's Pat Lawler, man. Like, we can't give up Pat Lawler." So he left.
Right. Or they're probably going, "Hey, don't worry, man. We can have 2 designers. That's all cool. There's enough to go around."
They do now, right?
Well, they do now, yeah. So, who knows? I mean, ultimately, Joe Balsa started, Wizard of Oz, so he got them off the ground with that first design. So he would want to be seen as head designer, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's not forget he also designed The Hobbit, which went through kind of many iterations, and there was, I mean, at one stage there was 4 flippers on there. Like, people questioned the use of the upper right flipper. Where that little slingshot is on the upper left, there was also another one there. So
because there was another bank of targets on the right.
That's right. I don't know. I love The Hobbit, but it's a very weird design. The new playfield layout is my least favorite thing on the pinball machine. How are we going in the Twippies? Are we leading? Have you heard from Jeff?
No, I think Jeff is being very good and not revealing anything. What I do know is that he's had a massive response, which is fantastic. And we did talk last week about the fact that we're doing the Twerpies, and I just wanted to really, wanted to point out. Well, I wanted to point out first of all, that wasn't really keen on the idea to begin with, but
you bullshitters, you came up with it.
The main thing is, you just got to see this as just being fun. It's just for laughs. We're just doing it because we think we're funny.
Well, we're doing it because we weren't smart enough to think of the Twippies.
That's true.
And we're not going to make the Twippies V2 or the head-to-head prestigious awards. I mean, it's already done, and everyone's treating this like it's going to be the thing for the next how many years, which is good. It's awesome. So as a joke, we're just doing the Twerpies, and some people have messaged and said, all pinball is good pinball, and let's all sing Kumbaya by the fire.
Yeah, and my favorite comment so far in Pinside was lame.
Yeah, that was very descriptive.
We knew it was lame. That's kind of why we were doing it.
Someone on Reddit said, this is like asking you to choose the ugliest Miss Universe contest entrance.
Well, yeah.
I'm like, no, it's not.
Well, it's a nice way of putting it.
Can you buy Miss Universe contest? Well, you probably can if you have enough money.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Well, okay, maybe it is.
But what would be really interesting? So we have done this as a bit of fun, and you sort of just rang me out of the blue, and we were just laughing hysterically about it. And you said, "Oh, what are we going to call it?" And I said, "Let's just call it the Twerpies," just because it was fun. And then it just sort of happened. So we're doing it just to be fun. Yeah,
we've also almost got over 100. Results. 100 different people do the quiz.
God, that's so many more than I thought we'd get.
Yeah, I thought it was only going to be like 10 or 20 people.
Yep.
But, I mean, the more people that respond, the more accurate the results are, I guess, because it has changed, and it is kind of like pretty solid now. Some of them are blowouts. Some of them are very close,
Yeah.
So if you want to do it, we'll link it in the show notes. As I say, it's just for a bit of fun, but also remember to vote in the Twippies, because there are a lot of people voting in that as well. We would love for you to vote for us or anyone else who you like listening to, if it's Slam Talk Podcast or Canada or Buffalo, anyone you want to vote for. But we are begging for your vote because
because
as I said, we're gagging for the cash.
Which there isn't cash, there is a trophy.
The only reason why I want to win, one is for the trophy, and two is that more people will then listen to us, which will give us more recognition, which means we can do cooler things, interview more people. They say, hey, you want to come on our show? We won the Twippies. We're the best podcast around. even though...
Award-winning podcast, we can call ourselves.
Even though we don't deserve it, it's like, fake it till you make it, right? Yeah. This is the faking bit.
But just speaking with the Twippies as well, so just... I think within seconds of us finishing our podcast last week, so they actually announced the hosts.
Zach and Greg from Straight Down the Middle.
Yeah.
Gregory Bone and Zachary Merritt.
Yeah, I mean, hard not to be offended by the fact that we weren't asked, but I can understand. They are very, very attractive guys. So,
and they're about 10 times more charismatic than us as well.
Yes, easily. So...
That's awesome. So we'll link to the Twitch. What is it, like the show awards whenever it gets announced? It's sometime in January.
Yeah,
it'll be exciting.
and just
we'll watch it.
Just another, as whilst we're doing some shout outs as well. Pinball Profile did an interview with with Bruce from the Slam Tour podcast. So obviously Bruce is not enjoying his hiatus and needs to be on a podcast just about every week, it seems.
Wonderful.
But it was just the reason why it reminded me of that was because they did and thank you very much, Jeff, for giving us a shout out. But I also did play our clip where we sort of didn't sort of say that they were the best podcast when they said that we were. But I think later on I did mention that I did vote for them as my favourite podcast.
Yeah, so did I. I voted for them as well. I'm not going to vote for myself.
No, exactly right. And Pinball Profile, absolutely a close second. And I don't even know, but I actually met Jeff Teolis beginning of the year, but I just don't think he'd know who I am.
Aww.
I know.
Did you know who he was?
Yeah, absolutely. He came up to me and said, "Oh, hey, I'm so and so from Pinball Podcast and from Pinball Profile." I went, "Oh yeah, I know." And he goes, "Oh, how do you know?"
I'm so and so. More like, I'm Jeff Teolis.
Yeah,
subscribe.
I'm like, of course I know who you are. You're Pinball Profile.
Well, hey, you can't blame him. He's interviewing people like Gene Simmons,
True,
Bruce Nightingale. You can't expect him to just know everyone, right?
Well, that's right. So just to jog your memory, when you were about to interview Jordan Treadaway, you turned to some guy and said, "Oh, are you Jordan's dad?" And I said,
"I wish I was."
I said, "No, just a friend." That was me. Oh, funny.
Your genes aren't that good, Marty.
No,
your pinball genes aren't that good.
No, nowhere near. Here's the time.
What else we got? This week in pinball.
Oh, I like that.
Change it up a bit.
Yes.
What have you got for us, Marty?
Well, we streamed this week together, didn't we? You sort of just happened to be in my neighbourhood, and whilst I was streaming, I was shouting at Tanima saying, "Hey, come on over," and then you text me saying, "Hey, we're in the area, can we come over?" I'm like, absolutely, come over. I was streaming Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I had to fix something on one of my pinball machines at night, and kind of had everything in my car, and I was at the gym, and you started streaming, the notification came up, and I was like, "Oh, you're actually directly on the way." It's a 25-minute car ride, and you're 10 minutes away. So, yeah, I came, played a bit of Game of Thrones. It was almost the first time I was playing our machine, and put up Grand Champion.
Why do you emphasise our machine?
Well, because you shocked me and said that you would like to buy me out.
Absolutely. I am now head over heels in love with this Game of Thrones. Oh, I love it.
Oh, I said the only reason why you like it is because you haven't rotated your kind of pinball machines enough, and this is just like the new thing. And then you countered with, well, I didn't really feel like that way with Sopranos. Well, that's because Sopranos isn't that great.
I don't know. It's really interesting because it is, and you know where it's situated. It is a Steve Ritchie right next to another Steve Ritchie, being my Star Trek, and they don't play alike at all.
Yeah, the software's kind of different enough that they don't feel the same. That's the weird thing, Steve Ritchie games, they're very alike in geometry, so to speak, or playful layout, but they play completely differently when you change the rules because you're shooting different things.
Right. And so,
I don't know.
So speaking of that, so I always play Greyjoy, and I know people play Martel, but there was somebody that was chatting with us, this is Obi-John Kenobi, so hi John, and he said to me, how about you, because I always do Greyjoy, he said, why don't you do finish Tyrell, then Martel, and then start multi-ball with Lannister? And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? It's bloody hard enough to try and finish Martel. And I went, oh, you know what, I'll try it. And I did, and I actually got that absolutely in order. Tyrell, then Martel, and then Lannister, and absolutely blew up the machine. And what I loved about that was, there you go, new way of playing the game.
Okay, I'm confused. What does this mean? Is this like the perfect combination that what's his face? The Keith Elwyn. Is this the one that Keith Elwyn does that, when you're in Hand of the King, it's the 4 easiest shots to add a ball or something? Is this like
potentially?
No.
So this is because obviously with Greyjoy, you then get the ability from each of the houses. So with Tyrell, you then get the multipliers in the in lanes.
Okay.
So then once you've done that, you then complete Martell to then get Addaball, and then start multi-ball with Lannister. So therefore, you've got your multiplier lanes in multi-ball, you've got your Addaball in multi-ball, and then you've got Lannister with just shots flying everywhere. So it was a good game.
Okay. Cool.
So we'll link that in the show notes.
I'll try it when I get the machine back.
Yeah. Well, as I said, I just like that. Well, you're not going to. But what I just said, I like.
This is going to be our first big fight.
It really is.
Give me my fucking game.
I need that machine. I just feel that you're going to put it on location or sell it, and I'm going to be like, oh, but I loved you.
No, I won't sell it without offering it to you first.
Yeah, cool.
But it was just meant to be, hey, give me half of the cash and you can have it at your house for a little bit, and then I'll take it.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
Let's see.
But
let's just ignore this brewing argument for a while.
Maybe we need to have a new poll and people can sort of vote on whether you should sell it to me or not.
Okay, let's do that. No, we're not. Give me my fucking money. Sorry, Sopranos. Is that all, money?
Yeah. And so what happened in your week?
I'm very sad this week. I don't sound sad because I'm going through like the 7 stages of depression, but Dialed In has left the building.
I know. And I know you're really upset by that.
It's actually, I was kind of upset. I wasn't upset at the person taking because I was like, it's a free pinball machine. Take it whenever you want. But it was always kind of meant to leave in January, so it felt a bit abrupt, and it was cut short. I hadn't, I was getting better at the game, and I felt like Showdown was in my grasp, and then it was gone. So it's weird though because I've got so much more spare time now that Dialed In's gone. I went to bed yesterday at like 9:30, which is really, I was just tired. But if Dialed In was here, I would have said no. I know I'm tired.
So what's that saying about your collection?
I don't know. What's the saying?
Well, it means that you haven't got a machine in your collection right now that's just absolutely drawn you in.
Okay, well, I mean, what I've been playing a little bit since then, obviously not as much as I was playing Dialed In, is Demolition Man and Whitewater. And it's because Dialed In has really made me addicted to flow, but not Steve Ritchie flow, like Dennis Norman, a shot that leads to a shot.
It's different flow, isn't it?
Shot. Yeah, and I mean, I uploaded the video, I've talked about it already, but there's certain points in Dialed In where I get lost in just shooting pointless combos because it feels so good. And that's never happened on any other machine where, like I've got SIM cards ready and I'm just like, no, I'm just going to sit here and just shoot some combos, and then the ball drains and I'm like, oh my God, what was I doing? Like that's not important, but you just kind of get caught up in it because it feels so good. So that's gone. I'll get it again another day. I'll buy one further down the track, but it's not the perfect game. If I was to criticize it at all, it's just, mainly the sounds. I don't think the sounds get you kind of excited enough, and you do get very excited when you get deep into the game. Like after Chaos and Quantum City, that's when the game kind of really ramps up and starts. If they somehow retheme this game into kind of anything else, I know it's a good theme. I like it. It's campy. It's fun. But I don't think they've sold. I think they thought they were going to sell a lot more than they did. So I wouldn't put a retheme off the cards. I know Jack kind of said he doesn't want to do that. He wants to keep on creating new games, but it's almost a shame to, I'm not going to say waste because, it's an amazing game and everything, but, it would reach a broader audience if it was this big killer theme with that layout. And, maybe they could fix the little tiny hardware things like make the scoop a tiny bit bigger, because when you put the cliffies on there, it does, even with the passion for pinball cliffies, it still makes the shot a little bit hard. The right orbit, make that lane a bit higher so it doesn't jump over into the left orbit instead of going up the ramp. Little stuff like that. But I can't recommend this pinball enough. I thought I would play it enough to get sick of it. I am not sick of that game at all. Not even one little bit.
And I now obviously understand, because as we've mentioned before, last time I played it, it was just a great game. I really got it.
Yeah, as I said, yeah, the more you play it, the more you like it. It's a slow burner. I don't expect anyone to play the pinball machine for the first time and fall in love with it. I thought it was an okay pinball for a long time, and it took a while. I think it was at the Bayside Pinball Meet when I had that massive game that it really fell in love with it. So on that day that I came to stream with you, I got a call from Pinball Paradise where I've got the Hobbit and the upper flipper was sticking. They actually messaged me a couple of days before, but I thought it was just like sticking up a little bit. I'm like, okay, I'll just come and fix it whenever I'm kind of around. And then they messaged me a week later and was like, hey, like it's been out of order for a week. And I was like, what? I thought you just meant like sticking up a little bit, like when anyway, I bought all of my tools expecting like this, I had to do a flipper rebuild or something. It was just the 2 bolts holding the coil stop, I think. So that was like a 2-minute fix. But I was there with my mate Nimmer, and so we thought we might as well hang around and play pinball all night because it's free. They're my machines. So we sat there and we played Walking Dead and The Hobbit, and he kicked my ass. He's getting better at pinball. He kicked my ass at every single game. And right before we left, we went downstairs, and they've kind of converted. I'm not sure if you've been there recently. They've kind of converted downstairs into kind of a bit of arcade. There's some arcades there, and they also have a lot of board games. I'm not going to go to a bar and play Monopoly. It's not my style, but they've got like a massive Connect 4 there, and I had more fun, probably because I got my ass kicked in pinball, but I had more fun playing like a giant Connect 4 with my mate while the guy was kind of closing up because he stayed there till like midnight. Then I did playing pinball. It's actually like turned into a really cool venue that it isn't just, it's called Pinball Paradise or Island somewhere, but it isn't just pinball now. They've got like an N64 there where you can play Mario Kart. They've got all their awesome pinballs there. They've got some arcades there. They've got an Arnie T2. They've got board games. Whiskey, I can't review I never drink when I'm there because I'm always driving a long distance. So, but yeah, Pinball Paradise, go check it out if you haven't. It's an awesome place, and just put money in just my 4 machines. Okay, don't put any money in any other ones.
What are the machines that you've got there now?
Spidey, Getaway, Hobbit, and Walking Dead Pro.
Well, that's a good selection right there.
My machines are playing nice. They're playing pretty nice.
Great.
I don't want to toot my own horn, but they're the best ones there for sure.
Awesome.
What else? That's it. Sorry, there was a guy. Oh my gosh, this is a funny story. When I went there's heaps of people there. There was like 20 people upstairs, and there was this big group of people kind of around Walking Dead and just pumping money into it and having an awesome time. When they saw me get my keys out and open up the Hobbit, everyone started telling me, this switch, and everyone's telling me all the issues. I'm like, if it's not my 4 machines, I can't do anything about it, kind of thing. And one guy goes, which 4 machines are yours? So I mentioned them. He's like, Walking Dead chewed up my money, mate. Can you put some free credits on? And this is a guy in a business suit, I don't, don't judge a book by its cover, but you think, okay, he's I might believe him. He's not like a bum off the street or something. But it was Walking Dead, and there's a brand new coin mech in there that I bought when I put the machine on site. Every time I empty the cash drawer with them, the audits are absolutely 100% correct. So when he said The Walking Dead, I was like, I just laughed it off. I was like, nice try to get, but I know you're trying to scare me out of a game. And he just laughed it off and said, yeah, it was worth a try.
But yeah, you always said that your audits are absolutely spot on.
Yeah, I mean, there's one, I don't know why, for Spider-Man, for some reason, it is always like a $1 off for some reason. Not like $2 or $5 or $10. It's just $1 off. And I don't know why. I've never, I haven't been doing it long enough. But so if he said that game, I said sure. But he said The Walking Dead, and I know that one is 100% correct every single time.
There you go.
You've got a massive This Week in Pinball, Martin.
I do. I've got a big list.
Okay, sorry. I thought that. Yeah, I said, what else are you up to? And you didn't say anything.
No, I've actually got. There's a lot going on. Not just this week. This is gone, but probably the big news. I sort of mentioned that I was going to be in the States probably before Christmas for work, and it's actually now been booked and confirmed that I will be there second week of January. And on my way, because I fly into LA and then to my my destination for work, I've decided that I'm going to get off at LA and I'm going to drive to Banning and go to Indisc. That is, it never drains in Southern California.
And is this like a big tournament?
Yeah, it's
or?
a massive tournament. So you would say it's one of the majors, right? So I went there 2 years ago when Arcade Expo was on. So it's at this place called Banning. I believe there was sort of like a Kickstarter that was trying to set that up as a permanent sort of museum. It never sort of got funded. But there's about 500 pinball machines in this location, and
Whoa.
it is absolutely massive, and from every era and all manufacturers. So, side note, Pistol Poker was just released on the Pinball Arcade this week, which is by Alvin G. And I got to play that at this place, which I think it is called the Pinball Museum at Banning in California. And they're having the It Never Drains in Southern California tournament there at that time. So I've already reached out to some people. So hopefully I'll be able to catch up and say hi to many people. Last time I went there 2 years ago, I didn't really know that many people, and they didn't know me. So
you're a nobody. Now you've got a podcast with at least 20
and now look at
listeners.
me. I've made something of my life. So, no, I'm actually really looking forward to it. And last time I went, I think I've said this before, that, I had a month off at Christmas, and I was sort of week 2 into it, and I wasn't really doing anything with my holidays, and I thought, God, this is going to be a real waste. So I just woke up one morning and said, how about I go to Indisc? So, 2 days later, I was at the airport flying out, and as a result, I got there and, wide-eyed, didn't really know what was going on, didn't know any of the machines in the bank, so I didn't really know any of the rules, but I still had some fun anyway.
You're going to win it, Marty? You're going to bring home the trophy?
I can't win it.
Why is that?
Because the flight back from LA to my destination is at a certain time on the Sunday night, so I can't be there too late. So
what's the point then?
Well, because it's fun.
Is there other tournaments? Is it like a side?
Yeah, there's classic tournament as well. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So you can do stuff. You just can't make the finals.
Well, I can make the finals, and you know what? Maybe if I do go well, I'll just sort of get a later flight. Who knows?
Okay.
Cool. So what else happened this week? So I'm streaming The Hobbit. So by the time you've listened to this podcast, because we are recording this a little bit early, I would have...
Don't let them know we're not recording on Christmas Day.
I wanted to record on Christmas Day.
No, not happening.
But yes, so hopefully you'll be able to see the link to that with the new Hobbit code. Very disappointed. My Pin Stadium light kit arrived in Melbourne on Friday morning, however, didn't make it in time to actually get delivered to my house. So at some stage over the Christmas period, I'll need to get my Pin Stadium installed on my Wizard of Oz, and at the same time, you might as well come over, put the mirror blades on my Wizard of Oz and Hobbit, and fix my ramp flaps. Sure. Just block out a good 6-7 hours. I will provide you food and nourishment and drinks.
How about this? All right, we'll do all that, but when I leave, I'm taking Star Trek and Wizard of Oz with me.
Okay, that's a good deal, because it's got to go to your event anyway.
Because it has to go anyway, so let's not do it twice. Let's just organise it, mod it all up, and then...
Sounds great. And so also, just on the streaming front as well, I actually just wanted to do a big shout out to everybody that supported the Melbourne Silverball League Twitch channel. The numbers have gone up considerably. There's actually a really good community that's now formed that watches me, twice a week that I stream. So it's actually been really good. And this was what is it? I'm an affiliate. I'm not a partner. And that's
what's the difference?
Oh, well, first of all, you have to have a lot more viewers to become a partner. It's kind of like a partner light. You get some of the perks, but not all of it.
Okay.
But I'm happy the way that is. I just do it for shits and giggles. But just part of that, like this year for me, I sort of said it last week as well. I watch Twitch more than I listen to podcasts, more than I play pinball. I love Twitch, so I just wanted to give a big shout out to Dead Flip, Pinball Live, Buffalo Pinball, Anonymous, and Slam Tilt, and also Vuvuf. How are you guys? that's really good. They sort of come onto my channel and have a chat, and I sort of, when I can, because they stream it all like God knows what hours, because they're on the other side of the world, I do get to go in there and say hello. But I also wanted to give a big massive shout out to the very first subscriber that we had on Melbourne Silverball League this year was Taz Pinball. Thank you for your support, Matt.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
He's actually because the other issue with Dialed In leaving is that my Flip Frenzy numbers were dependent on a certain number of pinball machines. So he actually offered, without me asking, to bring his Roadshow, and which is another Pat Lawler game. So one Pat Lawler out, one Pat Lawler in, and I said yes. So he's going to bring that down on the day, and so that was without me asking. So it was really, really nice of him. He's a really great guy, Aaron. So
good on you, mate.
Yeah, he actually wants to come on the show. So maybe one day next year we can have him on as our special guest.
One day.
All right. Should we head to the mailbag?
Let's go to the mailbag.
Go for it. This is all you, mate.
This is all me. Okay, so we got. Speaking of my Twitch stream, there's another person that always comes in and watches my channel, but somebody we met this year, courtesy of the Melbourne Silverball League, when I was running the tournament. So he's written in saying, "Hi Marty and Ryan, just wanted to say thank you both for the podcast and wish you Merry Christmas. For me, this year has been my rekindling of my passion for pinball, thanks to Martin and the Silverball League. The great thing is that Maddie, who's his son, and to a lesser extent the rest of the family, have also caught the bug. I started the year with a single machine, my trusty old Black Rose, and over the year the collection has now grown to 5 with the addition of Funhouse, $6 Million Man, Demo Man, and recently a Whodunit. That's a pretty good collection right there."
Yeah, I love me a bit of Whodunit.
Yeah, same. So next year I will hopefully add some more pins, but don't tell my wife. Hopefully she doesn't listen. Just don't play this episode to her, Axel. So I don't need to tell you how much I enjoy the podcast each week, as I don't want your heads to get any bigger. FYI, it's not possible.
We're very modest.
He said the best thing about pinball in Melbourne is not only the games, but the people in and around the hobby. They seem to be so welcoming and always ready to share advice or their games for others to play. Anyway, have a great break and look forward to catching up with the new year. So thank you very much for that, Axel.
That's another thing that we don't probably talk about enough, is that the people in the hobby is what makes the hobby. I know that sounds like really, like it just sounds cheesy, but people do nice things without, I just, like Andy gave me his machine and he didn't want anything back. Like who does that? Like Andy asked you if you wanted to borrow his van, within 10 minutes of meeting you. Remember that? And you're like, what? You don't even know me.
That's right.
Not just him, it's just everyone. Just everyone helps each other out so much, and it's just such a good community. And yes, there are some bad people. There's exceptions to the rule, but overall, people are just too nice, and it rubs off. It makes me want to be a better person. As I said, this is really cheesy, but it's true.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
Yeah. And he voted for us in the Twippies. Thank you.
Thank you. He said it was a toss-up between us and Canada, so thank you for giving us your vote.
Yes. you know who's going to win? It's going to be Nate. Everyone's going to be like,
of course it's going to be Nate.
We want Nate to win so he can come back and give us his dreamy voice. He's going to win. Anyway.
He has got a dreamy voice.
Marty, as the last topic of our show, before we send everyone off on their Christmas journey, what is your favorite pinball by all these designers? Pat Lawler, Steve Ritchie, John Borg, John Trudeau. Trudeau? Come on. I don't care. Fuck him. And George Gomez.
Now, so that's interesting. So as I've, people will say, what's your favourite Pat Lawler? And most people will say Addams Family or Twilight Zone, and everybody knows how much I dislike those machines. So it's actually a really interesting toss-up. I would say the two, I will get to my favourite, but the two that it came down to was Ripley's Believe It or Not, and Grand Prix, or it's also known as NASCAR.
What?
That's a great machine.
I haven't never played it, but doesn't everyone hate that game?
No, that's not true at all.
Okay. No. There was one for sale. There was one, if you like it that much, there's one for sale that just sat there for like a month in Australia.
Yeah,
and you can buy it.
No, it's actually a fun game. But it comes for me. I think it's Ripley's. I think Ripley's is a stern version of Twilight Zone, but in a narrow body.
Are we basing this just off design, or just the pinball in general, which incorporates the design and the software?
All of it.
Okay, all dialed in.
Okay, yeah, easy.
Okay, Steve Ritchie.
Star Trek.
Okay, Star Trek as well. I probably, it's the warp ramp. It's so damn good. Even though I can't hit it, you can hit it really well. But yeah, it's one of the coolest shots in pinball.
John Borg. So for me, that comes down to two. It's either Metallica or Walking Dead for me, and it would have to be. I reckon Metallica's got it over Walking Dead, just because I've always said that I think it is the best combination of layout, theme, art, music. What else? Just the feels. I think that it is just Stern's most perfect machine.
Yeah, I mean, I know John Borg made a whole bunch of pins back in the day, but I'm going with a modern pin as well. And yep, it's between Walking Dead and Metallica because of the software that accompanies them. The only thing I don't like about Walking Dead is the plunge into the pops.
Yep.
And the pops kind of like, when the ball dribbles out, it's sometimes it goes straight in the middle, sometimes it hits that post and goes to the left flipper. But it's just, the game is so frantic, and I know people say, yeah, it's the one bit that you get to relax and catch a breather. I don't need to catch a breather when I'm playing pinball. I can just, be nonstop. And that's what makes it fun. It's there's a bit of felt you can put, and I did it to my machine, but then I took it off and I put it on site. In the orbit, so that when you hit the left orbit, instead of getting stuck in the pops, it comes straight through, so it's actually a real orbit. That improves the game for me, but I know that's kind of not how it was meant to be. So I gave my vote to Metallica as well, simply because, as you said, it's an amazing game. It's hard to fault. I know the layout isn't groundbreaking or anything, but everything works. Everything works together in unison.
Yeah. Just pure synergy with all those factors. It is just an amazing machine. So, obviously, you didn't mention Avatar there, so that was a bit disappointing.
You didn't mention it either. Yes.
Look,
Absolute Jackpot. The best thing about that game, and that's it. That's the only good thing. Absolute.
Yeah. So, what about John Trudeau?
Trudeau?
John
Is that how you say his name?
No, it's John Trudeau.
Oh, gosh. Congo, easily. Congo, I absolutely love playing that game. Sounds, the call-outs, the layout I think is quite good. I wish that hard shot through the pops for the volcano shot was worth more, like instead of triple hippos. I wish it was worth like 10 times hippos or 40 times White Sullivan hippos. It's just a fun game to shoot, and we played it, me and you, on the weekend. I think you played it. It's fun every time. I wouldn't buy it now because I've played it so much. I feel like I got my fix, but I do enjoy coming back to it.
Yeah, I do like that as well. I like that it's as are most of Trudeau's games. It's got a really, I don't know, probably innovative or inventive layout where there are some shots I look at and I think, how does that work? How do you actually get flow that comes around there? There's nothing there, but the upper left flipper has a couple of different shots that it can go to, and there's diverters, and sometimes it comes around, sometimes it doesn't. There's that, right shot up through the pops that's really satisfying when you get it. I think it's a great game. It's not my favorite of his games, mainly because I really haven't played it that much.
Okay.
So
did you beat my high score on that machine?
Yes.
Okay. You haven't played much, but you beat my high score that took me 3 years to get. So
yeah, I'm a really good player. So
yeah.
So the
Are you choosing any game?
Well,
WWE.
No.
Mustang.
I love Mustang. I've always said, if that was any other theme, I would have bought that machine. I love the layout. I love the fact that it's very fast. It's punishing. I actually like the rule set as well. I just don't like the theme.
You don't own it. How if it was like BMW?
Well,
Mercedes.
I just don't.
Fast and the Furious.
Yeah. Well, Fast and the Furious. I probably. It's not my kind of car racing that I like, but that still would have been a better theme than Mustang.
Car racing do you like? You like NASCAR? You said you like NASCAR.
I do like
Is that what it
NASCAR.
is?
I like V8s.
V8 supercars.
Yeah, mate. So look.
Nothing.
Nah,
Pass.
it's really difficult. I don't know whether I've got an absolute, but I'll give you some of my favourites. I don't know if you've ever seen Spirit by Gottlieb.
I did. I saw one that was so beautiful. I sat there and just looked at the back glass. There was that expo, one of the best of show, whatever it was called. Someone modded up the back, and it was just like that spinning ghost thing in the background.
Yep.
I didn't even play the game. I just sat there and looked at it.
Mesmerised. Yeah.
I'll buy the game just for that.
Yeah, it's a great game, and I remember years and years and years ago when I went to Bump Action, I went in and I said, I want to buy a pinball machine, I want to buy a Spirit, and they're like, yeah, good luck. So I never had one, but that would have been my first game I would have ever bought, and so that shows you how much I loved it back in the day. But I had played it fairly recently, and it hasn't aged all that well, so I'm not really going to put that as one of my favourites. Black Rose.
Bride of Pinball.
Yeah, Bride of Pinball I like.
Ghostbusters.
Oh, Ghostbusters I hate.
Flintstones.
I do actually like the Flintstones. I'm one of the few people that actually likes that as a game, and I was actually watching Pinball Live stream that probably about a week ago, just a little bit week over. That's Pinball_live on Twitch. It's a fun game. It's just, if it was based on the cartoon and not the movie, it would have been better.
Silver Slugger.
Yeah, there is that. We're just going through all of them. Q*bert's Quest. I've got fond memories of playing Q*bert's Quest. That's the one that's got the really weird flipper arrangement.
Hollywood Heat.
Yeah, apparently I haven't played that much. Yeah. Oh, Raven is an absolute
Genesis.
dog. Alien Star. So, there's some good games there. Look, if gun to my head, I would have to say it would be Mustang.
Okay.
What about George Gomez?
You go first. I already have my answer, but I want to just check if there's any other games that I like more than this.
Well, so let's talk about the big ones. So you've got Monster Bash, you've got Avengers, you've got Lord of the Rings, Sopranos, Transformers, Batman, Johnny Mnemonic, Corvette.
Jeez.
No? Getting nothing?
Sorry.
No? Crickets?
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings, I think.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Monster Bash is great, but Lord of the Rings is the journey pin that I like.
Yeah. I think I would pick Monster Bash mainly because I've put a lot more time on Monster Bash, and also because for some reason... Now, this will probably go completely wrong when we play it next, but for some reason, it doesn't matter which Monster Bash I play. For some reason, I can absolutely blow up that machine. I am one with Monster Bash.
Very, very modest.
not that I'm getting a great score, but so me on Monster Bash is a force to be reckoned with. I just don't know what it is, but there's something about that layout I'm just really comfortable with. The shots just absolutely suit my style. I love it.
Cool.
So there you go.
Well, there we go. Email us in head2head, so head2headpinball@gmail.com, and let us know your favourite pins from Pat Lawler, Steve Ritchie, John Borg, JT, it's John Trudeau, and George Gomez. We probably could have added some more in there, but those are the guys that are kind of active, right? So
there you go. So look, it is Christmas time. So one thing that we were talking about earlier is that in America, they don't have these things called bonbons or crackers. Is that true?
I think it originated from the UK. So countries that are part of the Commonwealth, the Queen Victoria kind of thing, all do it. So I think maybe Canada, New Zealand, Australia, those kind of countries. But I don't think people in the US crack bonbons. And what like crackers or bonbons are. Well, hey, you describe it, Marty. You're probably better at doing that.
Oh my god! So it's almost like a long cylinder that's in sort of glitter type paper that almost resembles a bow. And basically what you do is one person holds one end, another person holds the other. You pull it apart. It makes a crack and out pours prizes and gifts.
Junk and the crown, the weird looking crown that everyone says, wear it, let's everyone wear it.
These paper crowns, it's ridiculous.
A family, so like, Christmas in Australia is all about family and everyone's having a good time. So we usually you don't do dinner, right? It's a lunch usually, right?
I do lunch, yeah.
Yeah, lunch. And there's this horrible joke in there, because they have to be family friendly, but they
are terrible. And so I've got a couple for you. You ready?
Go for it.
What do you call a crazy golfer?
What do you call a crazy golfer?
A crack putt.
That's not PG, Marty.
What lies at the bottom of the sea and shivers?
A cold fish.
A nervous wreck.
Oh gosh. Marty, what's brown and sticky?
A stick.
Boo. You knew that one.
What do vampires sing on New Year's Eve?
I don't know. What are they saying?
Old Fang Syne.
What?
You know the song Old Lang Syne?
No.
Oh my God.
Straight over my dumb head.
Okay, well, last one. This one you'll understand. What is black and white and noisy?
A Collingwood supporter.
A zebra with a drum kit.
Why did the little kids fall off a swing?
Why?
Someone threw a fridge at him.
That is ridiculous.
What do you call a sheep with no legs?
I don't know.
A cloud. That's also horrible. All right, I'm going to chuck in one pinball joke in there. Okay.
Yep, go.
I had to Google for this. This is not original. Life is like pinball sometimes, Marty. Sometimes you tilt. Sometimes you're special. Sometimes it's not finished. Or sometimes you're like me and you get an extra ball. That's right, bitch. I got 3 testicles. All right.
Is that really it?
That's it. That's the funniest pinball joke I could find.
Awesome. So is that it for the week?
That's it. Merry Christmas.
Are you going to sing me out?
Well, someone messaged me and they said, I will vote for you in the Twippies if you sing Broken by Paterna. I looked it up. It's a death metal song. I will sing it, but you didn't say you're going to vote for me. So if you vote for me, in the Twippies, I will sing that song. Are you going to sing us out, Marty?
Well,
Can you sing us out? Are you going to sing us a Christmas carol?
I can sing you well, do you know what time it is?
What time is it, Marty?
It's Christmas time. There's no need to be afraid. At Christmas time, we let in light and we banish shade. Sing along if you know it. And in our world of plenty, we can spread a smile of joy. Throw your arms around the world at Christmas time.
I don't know this song.
Oh my God. Only the best charity Christmas song in the world.
Is that the chorus? Where's the chorus?
No, the chorus is feed the world, let them know it's Christmas time.
You're a good singer, Marty. You've been holding back his voice for 23 weeks. Oh my God.
Oh, there you go. Thanks, everybody. We will see you all, next week. And next week will be our New Year's Eve episode. Bloody timing.
We told you that we're not stopping. We're not stopping.
We are going to be recording all the way through.
And Merry Christmas. Be safe. Eat lots of food, but not too much. And yeah,
have fun.
See you guys later.
Bye, guys.